Today on Week in Review, a local fire resulted in a death. The city of Terrace recently had a public holiday celebration, and the Terrace Library is set to get a new accessory. Hello, I'm Cael Maslin, and thank you for joining us here on Week in Review, where we cover all of the news here in the Northwest for this past week. The city of Terrace recently hosted an event to celebrate a holiday from earlier this week that exists to emphasize the importance of reading to everyone.
This past Friday saw an hour-and-a-half-long event held at what was once the site of the Just Cozy store in the Terracina Mall as a way of celebrating a holiday. The holiday in question being celebrated was Family Literacy Day, but the actual date of the holiday was not on Friday.
Family Literacy Day is coming up on January 27th, and we partner with a lot of different agencies in the community to bring a Family Literacy Day event to light every year. Sometimes we've had it outdoors, sometimes it's been at the City of Terrace, sometimes in the library. Today we're hosting it at the Skeena Mall.
The reason that the event was held a few days before the holiday was so that they might be able to attract a few more families since the local school was closed that day. Several organizations such as Northern Health, Family Smart, the Heritage Park Museum, and the Skeena Diversity Society all attended to contribute several different games, arts, and crafts based around lettering and even some math, and free books were available too. But an event like this one more than likely will not be the last of its kind to take place this year in Terrace.
These agencies, we come together once a month to do some kind of activity. So you'll see us, next month we might do something that might be around Valentine's Day, there might be a spring break, something or other happening. So keep a look on Facebook, keep looking at the Terrace Public Library and the City of Terrace Facebook pages, and you'll see what we're up to next month.
Each event like this that the city puts on is free for everyone to attend and will be located somewhere within the local community. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Cael Maslin.
There was also a death in the local community that happened due to a house fire that occurred earlier in the week. CFTK-TV's Damian Smith has the details.
Though snowing and cold right now, one residence was found on fire yesterday on Olson Avenue. The Terrace RCMP and fire department arrived on scene, and unfortunately, the severity of the fire claimed one life.
Well, we are here at the 4500 block here on the northeast side of Terrace, where it was announced yesterday that one woman was deceased after a fire in a garage just yesterday morning.
Now, according to the RCMP, what started the cause of the death was a structure fire, and the woman was then taken by EHS but pronounced dead at the hospital. As of right now, on January 28th, the death is believed to be suspicious. Anyone who has any additional information on this case is urged to call the Terrace RCMP at 250-638-7400. From CFTK-TV in Terrace, I'm Damian Smith.
After working on it for the past few days, the City of Terrace was finally able to get the entirety of the city's water services running properly once again late Wednesday morning. Although the city has put out some advice saying that if any residents are still having issues with low water pressure, they can call the Public Works Department at 250-635-3467. The city also went out of its way to give everyone their thanks for being patient while this work was being fully completed. This saga initially began when water pressure issues were emerging in the Horseshoe as well as the Little Bench areas. In a post on their Facebook page, the City of Terrace has announced that the local library will be getting its own accessible parking lot installed. The current plan is for the parking lot to be fully installed at the end of the summer at the bare minimum, according to the post. The lot is also said to make it easier for people with disabilities, impairments, or any other type of mobility challenges to enter the building without assistance. Working on constructing the lot may start as early as this week, and while it was acknowledged that nearby trees would be trimmed or removed for this project, the city will plant some new ones to serve as replacements. In the Terrace and Thornhill community, the Skeena Climbing Society is now in the middle of gaining funds to hopefully one day have their own boulder gym. One of the members, Shannon Lawrence, had a chance to give us a debrief on what the society is all about.
We put out some surveys to the community at large as well as to our members, and the feedback has just been so loud and unified that there's a need for more indoor climbing opportunities. Obviously, this first part is the big push, but just the startup is more possible. The insurance is lighter. The statistics on injuries is much safer than rope climbing. And because we want to introduce the community at large to climbing, we don't just want this to serve the climbers. We want the ecosystem model. We are planning this to be suitable for absolute beginners, but also to be interesting to experienced climbers so that you have people demonstrating. We need to show more funds in our account, so that's why we're doing the GoFundMe, so that we have seed money, and then when we apply for grants, it gives us more points. But we're also looking for corporate partnerships and private partnerships, so but we want to keep it nonprofit and for the community is our goal so that it stays accessible.
The north end of EB Street, nearby the Howe Creek Trail Network in Terrace, is set to be under construction for at least the next couple of weeks or so. The work being done is mainly infrastructure upgrades and is also reportedly supposed to make it easier for local fish to migrate in and out of the area. Users of the Howe Creek Trail are being advised to use both the entrances and exits at the north end of Sparks Street, Thomas Street, or partway through the trail at Tweedle Avenue while this work is ongoing. The cost of some of this work is being covered by the Kitsum-Kalem First Nation via the federal government's Environmental Damages Fund. Up next, the city of Prince Rupert made a call to their community. Welcome back. We now look at an announcement from the city of Prince Rupert, who have renewed their call for support from the community to find housing for those affected by the Sherbrooke apartment fire. The early morning fire that forced nearly 100 residents from their homes on Christmas Day continues to leave some residents displaced over a month after the event. The city of Prince Rupert renewed their call for community support, stating that there were a remaining 17 or so people displaced from the fire. If anyone has a vacant unit that may be suitable, they're encouraged to reach out to the North Coast Transition Society's Housing Outreach Program at 250-627-8959, extension 24. An announcement from the Prince Rupert Port Authority has emerged stating that the PRPA is partnering up with the Metlakatla Development Corporation to develop a project. The project in question is known as the South Kayan Import Logistics Park, and it has been described as an over $100 million Indigenous-led joint venture that will ultimately bolster intermodal trade via the Prince Rupert Gateway, create new jobs for local Indigenous workers, and also result in long-term economic benefits for Metlakatla. The full statement is available on the Prince Rupert Port Authority's website. Over to a First Nation taking legal action now. A joint committee consisting of the hereditary and elected chiefs, the Gitsala First Nation, has filed a notice of civil claim in the BC Supreme Court against BC, Canada, and the Prince Rupert Port Authority. The committee asserts that the Crowns have breached duties, including the duty to consult, and have undermined commitments to UNDRIP and DRIPA. The claim is seeking declarations that the Crowns have breached duties as a result of their wrongful assessment of Gitsala's claim of title to the Prince Rupert Harbor area. The claim challenges the Crown's assessments regarding the strength of Gitsala's claim to territories within the Prince Rupert Harbor, Kayan Island, and the mouth of the Skeeter River. The Gitsala have said that they have repeatedly submitted evidence confirming continuous occupation of the Prince Rupert Harbor area. An audit of BC timber sales and timber sale license holders in the Haida Natural Resource District has recently been completed. The board says they completed a compliance audit that examined all forestry planning and activities carried out by BCTS and TSL holders in the area between May 1, 2022 and May 31, 2024. The parties complied with most legislative requirements with two exceptions. Auditors found BCTS was not diligent in inspecting approximately 90 kilometers of its road and structures in its Sewell Inlet operating area. This was considered a significant non-compliance. Following the audit, BCTS inspected the roads to identify maintenance priorities and is committed to working with the Ministry of Forests and the Haida Nation to develop road deactivation plans as needed. For the other issue, auditors found all 3 TSL holders audited had abated fire hazards within the required period. However, 2 TSL holders did not complete the required number of fire hazard assessments and did not conduct fuel hazard assessments on time. This was considered an area for improvement since fire hazards were effectively abated. The town of Smithers is currently advertising an event on their website that they are planning on holding close to the middle of February. The town hall will host an event known as Northern Energy Dialogues, which is built around having conversations about energy system transitions inside of the local region. The event will be held on Wednesday, February 12th from 6:30 p.m. until 8:30 p.m. The University of Northern British Columbia and University of Victoria will use what they learn about Northern BC's energy needs, challenges, and opportunities in a multi-year-long research project that they are in the midst of conducting. After the break, a yearly tradition in Kitimat is approaching quickly. Welcome back. And while the town of Smithers still plans to hold the previously mentioned event discussing what people were hoping to see regarding local energy use, the Kitimat edition of this event was set to happen on Thursday. The official name of the event was the Kitimat Community Energy Conversation, and it was to be held from 9:30 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. at Kitimat's River Lodge Recreation Center inside of its activity room. And similar to the Smithers event happening in February, the conversation is intended to get answers from people about questions that they are set to help create priorities for the community and to begin taking action towards the shaping of the future of how Kitimat will utilize its energy. The District of Kitimat recently announced that they had made their 2025 budget project page publicly available on the Get Involved Kitimat portion of their website. The page in question is intended to give out information on how the budget process works, make key dates known, and to allow for the public to share what they think should be top priorities in the upcoming budget. The district also carries out their budget deliberations at their local council meetings, so anyone who is looking to get involved with that can personally attend those meetings. Those who are still waiting on the reopening of the Kitimat ice rink still have quite a long road ahead, as the District of Kitimat recently updated the public with a better timeline on when progress will be made. The district says they expect to initiate tender process by the end of this month, with the work being awarded by no later than the end of February. Only then will they know how long repairs will take and when the rink can reopen. A coach from a local hockey team expressed what a challenge it's been to schedule the entire town season around only one ice rink. The district says that they recognize that some felt it's taken a long time to reach this point since the fire occurred in March of 2024. They say it's been a long and technically intense process. Once again, to Kitimat, it's time for an annual tradition to take place, the tradition of which is the Guns N' Hoses hockey game, and this year, all of the funds that are raised are going to be headed to a new cause from this firefighter and police showdown. Here's Jaylene Matthews of CFTK-TV with that story.
This year's game has been named the Showdown in Snowtown.
And we get the community out, we play a fun game of hockey between the firefighters and the RCMP, and we raise money.
And the family favorite event is taking on a new cause in 2025.
The Firefighters Ladder of Hope Charitable Foundation. All the money that's raised is going back to the nonprofit sports in Kitimat. So any sports teams that are nonprofit, the money is going to go back to the kids.
And in a tense race between Sparky Dog and Safety Bear, Sparky took the win.
The RCP did win last year. It was a really good game. We won 7-4. The year before that was the first year since the pandemic. The fire department beat us, so it's kind of one-to-one since the pandemic. We did win. We were really happy about the win, but of course it's not about that. It's always about raising money for the kids.
The puck drops February 22nd at 7 p.m. at the Tamatik Arena. Doors open at 6 and entry is by donation. Who's your money on?
Oh, it's going to have to be the RCMP. There is a little bit of concern that the fire department's raised about the reffing, so we're going to, we might have some undercover spies or something helping with the reffing this year just to make sure that everything's going to be above board there. So
For CFTK-TV News in Kitimat, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
A public request has emerged from both the Smithers and Houston RCMP detachments that is asking for help to find a man that is currently wanted. Bobby Tyler Kwok is the name of the man who is wanted this time, and he is being sought out on an unendorsed warrant for failing to comply with a probation order. Kwok has been described as an indigenous man who is around 5'10" and weighs close to 144 pounds, that has black hair as well as brown eyes. He is also considered to be dangerous, and the police are warning people not to approach him. Anyone who has useful information on where Kwok could potentially be located is asked to give a call to the Houston RCMP at 250-845-2204. BC's Ministry of Climate Readiness is providing $19 million for a total of 46 projects through its Community Emergency Preparedness Fund. A statement from the province said that the projects are located in 39 communities throughout the whole of BC and include upgrades to support flood mitigation in Merritt. In Cranbrook, the province said the Gold Creek Dam will be replaced to double the city's water storage capacity, and a fish ladder will be added to the regional district of Okanagan-Similkameen. Meanwhile, we'll receive the money to purchase 2 Tiger Dam systems that can be deployed on short notice to protect people and infrastructure against flooding. Still to come, Shames Mountain has made a new activity available. Welcome back. Local outdoors enthusiasts have something new to try at Shames Mountain, as the mountain is now offering snowshoeing as well. A grant from the Terrace Community Foundation helped the mountain create the specialized snowshoe trail, which has 2 options, a 100m beginner loop and 500m waterfall trail. Snowshoe trail tickets are $20 for adults and $15 for youth if you're renting the gear, or only $5 if you happen to bring your own snowshoes. Dawson Creek's police said a 23-year-old man was charged with second-degree murder in connection with a shooting from almost 2 weeks ago. Dawson Creek RCMP said the BC Prosecution Service approved the charges after the January 19th shooting killed 1 man and hospitalized another person. The alleged shooter and the victim reportedly knew each other, and the attack was not random. Police responded to 2 shooting calls that day, one on 102nd Avenue where they found the deceased man, and another at a hotel where the victim had non-life-threatening injuries. Now we head back to the coast, where the city of Prince Rupert is currently seeking out all the support that they can get in order to win the Kraft Hockeyville nomination for 2025, the prize of which, for doing so, is a total of $250,000. Residents have until March 2nd to send out photos, notes, and stories to show why they should win, since rally points are said to count for 20% of their judging. The competition will announce the 4 finalist communities on March 15th and one final nationwide vote to determine the winner, which will happen on April 4th. We now have a story on a woman who is in need of physical and mental health support down on Vancouver Island, who is yet another person without a doctor as the shortage continues here in British Columbia. CTV's Andy Garland has the rest.
The heat.
Lake Cowichan resident Valerie Hodgins recently found out she'll be losing her family doctor.
Critical that I have a doctor, and I'm going to be without one.
The 67-year-old has complex health needs that require monthly visits to her family physician.
I don't just have mental health issues, I have physically things wrong with me, and that's why I need a general practitioner.
Notices have gone up at Lakeside Medical Clinic, informing patients that the only 2 doctors in the community will soon be closing their practices.
Come June, the population of 6,500 people around the West Cowichan area will have 0 doctors.
Rebecca McGonigal is also feeling uneasy about losing her doctor. Her son, 6-year-old Asher, has Down syndrome.
We need to see the doctor on a regular basis, at least once a month, sometimes 2 or 3 times. So it's pretty detrimental to my family.
People are worried about their health needs.
Lake Cowichan's mayor has been inundated with calls on what can be done. One of them even came from the health minister, Josie Osborne herself,
who's a small-time mayor previously, and she is aware of the concerns.
So I want the mayor to understand that I hear and that I understand the challenge that it faces, and that I am here to help.
A new urgent care clinic opening in Dunkard later this year could alleviate some of Lake Cowichan's healthcare needs. The shift now moves to attracting new doctors to the area.
These are amazing communities to live in, and the recreational opportunities, for example, in Lake Cowichan are just tremendous.
We will do whatever is in our toolbox to accommodate healthcare needs of our citizens.
Innovative ideas to meet those needs will be on the agenda at tonight's council meeting. Andy Garland, CTV News, Lake Cowichan.
In major provincial news, we move over to a quick story revolving around BC politics, and that is Sonia Furstenau, who is leaving the BC Green Party after claiming 2 seats in the past election. CTV's Penny Daflos has more on Furstenau's tenure as the leader of the Green Party.
One of the most recognizable politicians in the province is leaving the spotlight.
It is very moving for me to think that people believed in me enough to come along on this magical mystery ride.
Sonia Furstenau is stepping down as leader of the BC Green Party after losing her seat in the fall election and insists BC still needs a third party in the legislature.
Greens are more important than ever, and not having a binary two-party system is an important bulwark against that growing polarization. When you have somebody in the middle that's willing to work in a way that brings people together.
Furstenau did that, building bridges with New Democrats as well as the BC Liberal Party and Mary Polak in particular.
Sonia is one of the very few who is just 100% absolutely authentic, genuine. Whether you agree with her or disagree with her, here is the kind of person we really want to see more of in whatever elected position is open.
Jeremy Valeria, one of 2 sitting Greens, will take over in the interim.
And I don't have plans to run for the leadership.
As plans are underway to elect a new face for the Greens' next iteration.
The leader needs to go out and build those relations outside the legislature. So I think that the BC Greens have a really good opportunity right now.
And so after 7 years as MLA, 4 of them as leader, Furstenau leaves with a record advocating for green energy and government transparency, investments in healthcare and supports for the most needy.
We can't accept the denial of the serious and real challenges that we face collectively. A billionaire class turning into an oligarchy, deepening inequality, a loss of trust and faith in public institutions and democracy, and climate change and the chaos that stems from it.
A final admonishment as she leaves public life with the same eloquence that earned the attention and respect of so many British Columbians. Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
That wraps up this edition of Week in Review. Make sure to tune into our regular newscast on Monday at 5, 6, and 11 o'clock here on CFTK-TV. Thank you very much for tuning in, and have a good weekend.